and welcome back to Page Pulse by Lee. Everything has a beginning, but not every beginning is as fascinating as the one I am about to share with you today. It's the story of India's space journey. Can you imagine a rocket being carried on a bicycle? Sounds like a science fiction movie, right? But it's true. That's exactly how India launched its first rocket. There were no million-dollar labs, no fancy technology, just a bicycle, a bullock cart, a cow shed, and one big, unstoppable dream. This is how India built ISRO. From almost nothing to everything. Let's go back to the year 1963 to a small village on the coast of Kerala called Thumba. There were no big labs, no giant machines, not even a proper launch pad. But what India had was a dream. On November 21st, 1963, India launched its very first rocket, the Nike-Apache. Built in collaboration with NASA, it wasn't a satellite, just a small sounding rocket to study the atmosphere. But before it reached the sky, it took a very humble journey. The rocket parts were brought in on a bullock cart, and the rocket itself, it was so light and small that it arrived at the launch site on a bicycle. That launch site was called the Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station or TERS. It didn't have a space center, so they used a church, the St. Mary Magdalene Church. The altar became the control room. The prayer hall was turned into an office, and the cowshed outside, that became the workshop. It was simple yet extraordinary. Because this wasn't just about launching a rocket. It was about launching India's space journey. It might sound impossible, but it was very real. And yes, it was magical. All built with faith, hard work, and a small team that refused to give up. But behind this incredible beginning was a man, a vision so clear, it lit the path for generations to come. The man who started it all was Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. A scientist, a dreamer, and someone who truly believed that India could achieve anything. In the early 1960s, when space exploration was dominated by superpowers like the US and Soviet Union, Dr. Sarabhai dared to think differently. He once said, "We are not trying to compete with the economically advanced nations in the exploration of the moon or the planets, but we are here to play a meaningful role. We must be the second to none." He believed that space technology should not be about showing off. It should be used to solve real problems, to send weather updates, to help farmers plant their crops, to connect remote villages across the country. That's what made ISRO so different right from the beginning. It was science with a heart. On April 19th, 1975, India launched its very first satellite, Aryabhata. It was named after the ancient Indian mathematician and astronomer. The satellite was small and it was launched from the Soviet Union. But for India, it was a giant leap. It made the entire nation feel proud like never before. Then came more satellites. INSAT for television and weather, EDUSAT for education, and IRS satellites to watch over our forests, crops, and coasts. Each one was built by a small, dedicated team using simple tools, smart ideas, and endless hours of hard work. While the world was watching giant rockets blast off, ISRO was quietly building something different, something smarter and far more meaningful. In 2008, ISRO launched Chandrayaan 1. India's very first mission to the moon. It orbited silently, studying carefully, and made a historic discovery. Water molecules on the moon. Yes, India was the one to discover water on moon. And just 5 years later, in 2013, India reached for Mars with the launch of Mangalyaan, our very first interplanetary mission. With that, India became the first country in the world to reach Mars on the first attempt. And with the lowest budget ever, believe it or not, we did it with a budget smaller than Hollywood movie. It was brilliant and truly Indian. It wasn't just a success, it was a masterclass in precision, planning and passion. Then came Chandrayaan 3. In 2023, a soft landing right at the moon's south pole, a place where no one had ever reached before. It wasn't just a mission, it was a message. India had arrived. But here's what makes ISRO truly special. It's not just about what we build, it's about how we build it. ISRO is not like any other space agency. There are no luxury offices or shiny gadgets. Scientists come to work on scooters. They wear simple clothes and focus only on one thing, the mission. They work with limited resources, where they find limitless possibilities. They don't speak loudly because their rockets speak for them. ISRO's journey teaches us something beautiful. You don't need fancy things to chase big dreams. You need dedication, teamwork and a little bit of madness. From a bicycle to the moon, from a cowshed to the stars, India's space story proves nothing is impossible if you believe. I hope you loved learning about ISRO's amazing journey. If this inspired you, share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more awesome stories and discoveries. Until my next video, stay curious and keep exploring. Signing off, Page Pulse Bailey. See you next time.